So hi everyone, welcome back. And today we are having the 20th International Talk on Green Business, Sustainability and Climate Action. And as usual, this webinar is being organized jointly by the Global Ambassadors of Sustainability and the Global Green Chamber of Commerce. And today as well, we will have three prominent guest speakers who will share their thoughts and views on the theme of the webinar opening remarks. So the floor is yours, Ms. Michelle.
Thank you so much and welcome everyone. Today's session brings together three remarkable innovators who are redefining how we think about sustainability, from the soil beneath our feet to the boardroom and beyond Earth itself. So we'll begin with Dr. Wassam, who will take us into the world of agricultural innovation and share practical solutions to increase productivity and conserve water in regions vulnerable to climate change. And then next, Mr. Adnan will guide us through the governance side of sustainability, showing how embedding ESG principles into corporate DNA can turn climate challenges into long-term business opportunities, as we all know. And finally, Ms. Fasan, founder of Revora, will unveil cutting-edge technology that bridges space science and earth-based agriculture, creating adaptive food systems for every climate and every world. So together, these perspectives form a powerful narrative, from practical climate adaptations to on-the-ground strategic transformations in business to visionary systems that link Earth and space. So stay with us through to the end, and you'll see how these ideas connect to paint a picture of sustainability that is both innovative, intelligent, as well as inspiring. So thank you very, very much for joining us today. And I'll just cover just a few items of notice here. Just a reminder that the next program will be on Thursday, November 6th. And so please be aware of the notices that come out from Dr. Wassam and the Global Ambassadors of Sustainability, and make sure you get signed up. And just a reminder, with the Global Green Chambers, we're starting green chambers all over the world. And because of this program, we have an amazing chamber starting in Morocco. Plus, we have a new one that will be starting in Egypt and Jordan. So just keep your eye out for those. And if you know of anybody who may be interested, just reach out to us. Because there's so much power in chambers of commerce. They've been around since the 1500s, starting in Marseille, France. They're pretty much almost in every single country in the world. So if we can transition the thought and idea of chambers helping those businesses become more sustainable, that is a true transition for businesses to become more sustainable down the road. And that's really a new path towards sustainability. With these chambers, we are bringing together businesses, NGOs, as well as bringing academicians to the table as well. So a new type of chamber in general. And because this is a very global audience, we come from all over the world, I want to just stop. There's so many of us that are going through struggles. There's war, there's famine, there's unrest, both in the national side as well as on personally, that each of us have to deal with each and every day. So just taking one breath of moment of silence to give peace, love, and kindness. And we'll spread that to our speakers today as they will get started very shortly. And just some friendly reminders. We encourage your participation on LinkedIn. Please drop in some comments. Make sure that you put in your questions for each and every speaker. Share your location, not just the country. If you don't mind, also put in your city. And just know that this is a space for open, inclusive, and uplifting dialogue. I always say we're creating a global sustainability family, and many of the same leaders are coming into this, and we just really welcome you into this space. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it back to Dr. Wissam, who has brought us all here today with the Global Ambassadors of Sustainability. So many thanks, Dr. Wissam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle, for this opening remarks. And we start now with our first guest speaker. And the speaker will be Dr. Wissam Assawi. Dr. Wissam is an aqua and hydro systems expert with GIZ in Egypt. So the floor is yours, Dr. Wissam.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Wissam.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here with you. I hope I apply or present useful presentation, and I'm so happy to be with all of you. So my presentation is clear?
Yes.
Okay. I will talk about some solution to save water, increase productivity, and quality in agriculture. My name is Wissam Assawi, and I am postdoctoral researcher in University of California, Davis now. I'm a researcher in Agricultural Engineering Research Institute, and I'm a former aquasystem expert in GIZ Nile Delta Water Management Program. So, as you know, most of world are suffering from climate change and water scarcity. So it is already global crisis. Globally, between 2007 and 2016, agriculture and land use contributed 23% to carbon dioxide and methane and nitrogen and gases, according to a report of an intergovernmental panel on climate change. So, productivity in olive, orchid, and mango plantation had significant decline in the first half of 2021, according to the most of all organizations in the world. So, and while the full extent of the damage is still being felt, olive orchid from 60 to 80% and mango plantation from 20 to 25%. In addition to the decrease in the moisture content in the soil as well, and decrease in filtration rates, which leads to decrease in the rate of nutrition in the groundwater, the climate change also affects sea level, and rising sea levels may lead to decrease in the nature and abundance of water in coastal areas. Egypt uses about 127 of its resources in agriculture, and 27% of water used in virtual water and imported food and other products. So, on the other side, the annual increase in pollution growth rates causes a significant gap between consumption and production of food. So there is a serve need to increase the agricultural productivity in Egypt using the available resources, which requires new solution for challenge facing climate change and achieving sustainable agriculture in Egypt. Why should we use soilless culture and hydroponic? As you know, traditional techniques may be highly productive, but their relative use of water may be high due to runoff and infiltration and evapotranspiration. Thus, the water use efficiency may be relatively low. So, soilless culture uses from 50 to 90% less water as a result of water losses from overwatering the soils and evapotranspiration and evaporation from the soil surface. So, soilless system may increase yield sustainability over soil-based. Soilless culture and hydroponic system definitions. What is soilless culture and hydroponic system? Soilless culture is a big umbrella, so we can define soilless culture as any method of growing plants without the use of soil as a rooting medium, in which the inorganic nutrients absorbed by the root are supplied via irrigation water. And soilless culture are usually classified to two types. The first type is substrate culture, and the second type is water culture or hydroponic, as we all know. Soilless culture can be divided to two systems, as we said. So every system or every type has many of systems. Like water culture or hydroponic system, we can see deep flow technique, we can see neutron film technique, we can see aeroponics, and we can see deep water culture, and we will talk about every system separate. About the substrate culture will be in gravel, in sand, in container, in bags, in coconut, anything I can plant or I can use it as a culture media, it will be defined as a substrate culture. This picture shows the type of substrate culture. It's bag culture, and we can use any media here like bitmos, perlite, coconut. We can use sand. So in this type, it's not difficult, and it's easy for anyone to apply and culture. And this as well another type or another shape from soil substrate culture. We can use tables, and we can use bags, we can use bottles. So in substrate culture, we can use anything we have in our house, and we can apply, and we can put in it a bitmos, perlite, sand, any media, we can use it to apply substrate culture. And this is bottle. So as we saw, substrate culture don't need experience to apply. Anyone can apply substrate culture, and the ideas or the engineering and the ideas will be in hydroponic system, not in substrate culture. In substrate culture, we can start with it in our house from today, with any material we have, with any waste we have. This is media mixing rate, and media mixing rate we don't need to we don't need to see it, because it's easy. We can manage the mixing rate with the media which catch water more. We will add this media with a more amount or with a big amount. So when we add Bitmos and Perlite, we will add Bitmos more than Perlite because Bitmos is catching for water more than Perlite. So we don't need to review the rates of media, what we will add for substrate or for hydroponic. It will be easy to know which media will catch water more than the other one. For water culture or hydroponic system, which will be the main core of our lecture, we have 5 or 4 type of hydroponic system, and all of hydroponic system which we see in around us, it's included in this 4 system. The first system is deep water culture, DWC. The second system, neutron film technique, NFT, and deep flow technique, DFT, and the last one, aeroponics. For deep water culture, it's the easiest system in Egypt, and we have many of investors need to apply deep water culture because it's the easiest one. It has a container with a nutrient solution and water and aeration pump in the water, and we have a foam sheet with a plant. It catches with a basket of hydroponic, and the root is merged all the time in the water. So this system is considered as the easiest one because it's easy to apply, it's easy to follow up the process, it's easy to operate, it's easy to change the water. So an investor need to start with hydroponic. He starts with deep water culture. The second system is neutron film technique. Neutron film technique is it's not easy like deep water culture, but it's very common, and it's too common in Egypt because it's used for vegetable like tomato, like lettuce, like strawberry, cucumber. So we use NFT for many vegetable types. So we can use it for lettuce, many types of lettuce. Its components as well. It's not hard to apply, and it's not hard to establish, but it's a little bit complicated with pipes and water pump. It doesn't need air pump like deep water culture. Just it need a water pump and tank. We can back to the slide with a component like this picture is a tank and water pump from the tank to the pipe of planting, and as we see, there is a pipe of planting with a basket which catch the plant, and the water will flow from the tank and flow through the roots and will back to the tank again. We can use NFT as I mentioned before, in strawberry, in cucumber, in lettuce, in peppermint. We can use it for all small vegetable types. So what you need to build an NFT system? We need, as I mentioned, reservoir to contain the nutrient solution. We need a pump or water pump. We need tube to disturb the water from the nutrient pump to the NFT growing tube, and we need channel for the plant to grow in. We need net boots to contain the plants and growing media to start seedling in and we need return system or tube and channel to guide the used nutrient solution and water back to the tank. So, which plant is growing in NFT system? We can grow, as I mentioned, fast growing plants like tomato, like cucumber, like lettuce, like peppermint, and but the most famous or the most important product in Egypt, we usually plant strawberries and peppermint. If you want to grow heavy fruits like tomatoes, like squash, you need to self-standing trellis system to support the plant, because NFT is not suitable to plant heavy crops.
Dr. Wissam, sorry, you have 2 minutes, please.
Okay. Which plant? The third system is deep flow technique. Deep flow technique, as we see, it's a combination between nutrient film technique and deep water culture. And we use a tank for water and nutrient solution. Above this tank, we see another tank
Dr. Wissam, are you there? I can't hear you. Okay, maybe we move to the second speaker. And the second speaker will be Mr. Adnan Shafkat. And Mr. Adnan, he's the Chief Operating Officer and founder for Beyond Carbon from Pakistan. So the floor is yours, Mr. Adnan.
Thank you very much. Greetings, everyone, and good day wherever you are, whatever location, whatever time zone. And thank you very much, Michelle and Dr. Wissam, for giving this opportunity to share my ideas on a subject which is a bit different, non-technical, more focused on the management side. I would appreciate if you can share my presentation. All right, thank you. So my focus or idea of discussion today is embedding ESG into corporate DNA, the governance helix. My name is Adnan Shafkat, and I'm an MBA. I've done Masters in Healthcare from Harvard University, and I've also done MS in Healthcare Management from Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. And very recently, I've been a fellow of Columbia School of Healthcare Management. So today's topic, slide. Okay, so who am I and what is Beyond Carbon? I was already explaining to my host that I have a very unique experience of working with a lot of industrial sectors as they are mostly family-owned organizations into, working into healthcare supply chain, pharmaceutical production, and imports, medical device imports and production, nutraceuticals, cosmeceuticals, dairy and agriculture farming, software and IT, and last but not the least, climate change advocacy, capacity building and adaptation. So over the period of last 30 years, working in these different domains has given me an opportunity to work globally with different organizations, individuals, on multiple elements and subjects, and mostly I have been focused on leadership. Being part of the board of these organizations has actually given me an impetus to speak on this specific issue today. So my areas of expertise under Beyond Carbon Flag is climate and sustainability, strategy and governance, project and change management, data analytics, business development and leadership, communication and training. So, I mean, from zero to hero, we know what to do, how to do it, whatever the changes are happening in legislation and standardization processes across the world. We pretty much know it, and we have the experience of implementing them across different continents. Mind you, we are available for working in 3 different continents, which is US, Pakistan, and very recently we have entered into Fiji Island. So today's discussion will be focused on why we are not achieving 100% results in climate action domain, even though so many organizations are working in this domain but have not been able to achieve results. And there is a thought that this subject doesn't work, and how we can embed sustainability successfully into strategy, governance, and long-term value creation within the organization. This slide shows pretty much whatever is happening across the world. Jargon is there: IFRS, CDSB, ISSB, GRI, ISO. My audience can actually go online and they can go into details what it's all about. But it shows a timeline from 1987 to 2025, that how things have developed, how things have changed, how new rules have come in. And this slide shows ESG disclosure pathways over the period of 30 years. It all started off with standardization of processes. ISO came in, then other standards came in based on locations, mostly from Europe and US. And now even Middle East, it's jumping into this situation following the rules and regulation being implemented as laws. So one important thing to understand is that things are changing because nothing is constant in the world. Earlier, CDM was the main mechanism which was followed from 1997 to 2020. But now, with the introduction of Article 6, since 2015, when Paris Agreement was initiated, things have changed. New requirements are coming in. Earlier, carbon credits were important. Now they have translated into ITMOs. Earlier, UNFCCC had a different role. Now they have included host countries to be part of it. But overall, the main focus is on the private sector, because it is believed that globally, private sector is going to play a pivotal role in the coming future to achieve these targets which have been set by different organizations, standardized organizations or implementing organizations. So what is the motivation, and why should organizations actually focus on ESG and its allied laws and regulations? I would like my attendees to take away today that maybe they think that going into ESG implementation is the right thing, but I tell you, over the period of other certain slides which I'll share, you'll understand that it's a very smart thing which is going to be the future requirement. So the carbon opportunity mix matrix, you can call it, is one has to consider that if you implement this, you will win more work as compared to your competitors in the coming time frame. Because what it does is it improves your operational efficiencies. You can understand your issues much more if you implement ESG strategies or EIAs or LCAs into your processes, and you can save more and perform better as compared to your competitors. Future proofing is also important because emissions are becoming more and more sort of an issue. So the baseline emission understanding is going to be important to meet the regulations. And most important is by implementing this, you can stand out, you can differentiate, you can disrupt your presence for investors and for the talents to follow you and become a better climate savvy organization. But when we come across organization, when we meet people, decision maker, we come to know, and there's a very, very clear thought that investment in sustainability is a burden. It's not an opportunity. But we have to pause here for a moment and understand that it's not a burden at all. What if the world kept on being unstable? After COVID, we saw that how supply chain was disrupted, how after floods, cities and lands, agricultural land, they were disrupted, and consumer expectation changed. We need to understand that burden of business to preempt shocks, be prepared for the future. That is also very important when you plan things for future. Also, societies which don't make decisions, which are undecisive, they actually end up paying more to resolve issues when they have impacted. So staying optimistic first is more important, because world is moving on, world is moving forward, and those who are implementing ESG as part of their strategy, they are performing more. So one important thing I would suggest here is that although countries have introduced NDCs, based on requirements and standards, I think they should go to a deeper level and they should introduce organizational determined contribution, because whenever these organizations are aligned with the NDCs, they would probably be able to achieve results and present results much more better. So it's not just what we do, what we need to do, it's how we orchestrate this change. That is important. So the common perception, which you actually, when you sit with boards, you understand that they always claim that cost of implementation of sustainability ideas is always high. But imagine how much would be the cost if you don't implement this? Undecisiveness, lack of decision, or maybe not timely decision affects you more. So the real burden is on supply chains, because climate shocks or climate impacts, in our case in Pakistan, recently floods have literally, being the top 10 vulnerable countries in the world, floods have literally destroyed lives in the middle part of our country. And also historical evidence shows that previous burden, such as environmental safeguards, actually become pillars of competitors for organization. And similarly, sustainability regulations, implementation play an important role. So governance helix, we need to understand that which organizations are successful and how they are successful in implementing this concept of ESG into their DNA. I guess you already know that best businessmen or successful businessmen, they always claim that business is in their blood. So what if we incorporate ESG into the DNA, and those organizations which are successful under the climate umbrella, they have actually incorporated this successfully, which I want to share with you. First, we need to understand that sustainability is a mandate for both organizations, board and management, and it's not a standalone system. So they have to work together as a team, whether they are board, whether they are management or employee. So one of the strongest takeaway in the sustainability segment is not the job of management alone. It's a cumulative teamwork to achieve certain objective, and where the whole organization elements have to collaborate. Where board sets direction and accountability processes, while management, they bring that ideas into life and embed ESG into processes. So let's try to understand quickly. I've summarized that what the golden rule of governance helix is and what are the successful factors of such organization. So stage one is strategic oversight, where organization or boards integrate ESG vision into long-term and short-term strategy. So they know where they are, where they want to be, and how to be there, incorporating ESG laws and regulations within their strategy. They approve ESG-related policies, risk and appetite goals, and it shows from their results and their commitments where they measure targets and they follow and align themselves with the international standards, which I already mentioned in my previous slides. So they link ESG to corporate purpose. There's a purpose of an organization to exist, not only to make profit, but how they play their part in community building and saving environment in which they work. So board connects priorities directly with company's mission. And then we move to stage 2, risk and compliance. They're very clear what the risks are and how to mitigate them. They have a clear picture of risk mapping within all the elements and layers of the organization. They're very clear on regulatory alignments, whether it's a company registration office or whether it's certain rule implemented by governments or activity alignments which are required. But mind you, it has to be a very simple, straightforward process, because most of the boards which are unsuccessful, they don't know what to do. Legal and ethical compliance framework, they are very clear about them as board. Other successful reason is stage 3, which is performance and accountability. ESG is taken as KPI integrated with the performance matrix within the organization, where business performance, is linked to the operational KPIs, ensuring that ESG becomes part of it. Linking executive compensation to ESG outcomes. Whenever there's a evaluation within the organization, why not? Successful organization link these compensation with the ESG activities each individual or departments is, they are implementing within the organization. And that's one of the successful element which keeps or differentiates them from other. Independent ESG audits and assurance, they make them part of all processes and procedures. Stage 4 is stakeholder engagement, where transparent reporting and disclosures are managed by, and boards are part of it, and that's why they're successful. They dialogue with investors, they present themselves, market themselves as a climate-savvy company which knows how they're doing things within the company and outside, and ensuring inclusive governance, gender equity, and diversity. Innovation and transformation is also an important element, where they make sure that they keep on innovating and integrating green technologies and converting data into digital tools, which is actually becoming an important element to tabulate and make strategies based on that tabulated data. A lot of softwares have come in where scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 elements are now digitally mapped, and it gives a good sort of a direction to organization to move forward. They also partner with relevant departments, and climate finance is, again, everybody knows in this domain that it's becoming an important element based on country's requirements. So feedback, last stage, feedback and improvement, it's a continuous process. They make sure they follow all the requirements. They keep getting inputs based on the feedback from each department and individuals, in some cases, and it's a continuous governance cycles which actually improves the strategic oversight of an organization. So a successful organization or a board actually follows these steps to achieve their objectives, and it's shown here in a summary. Now, if we compare how successful and unsuccessful board behaves, so it becomes a compliance issue. So beyond compliance towards opportunity while unlocking strategic value through ESG. It's a suggestion that organizations who want to improve or who want to showcase what they're doing, they must be embracing ESG as a driver of long-term success. While trying to be successful or be somewhere, they should make sure that climate risks become part of their investment and improve their investment in clean energy and water resilience is considered while making decision. Social expectations are met, and good governance is also given an important part for decision making and investor demands. ESG is also seen as compliance burden, which I've already mentioned, but to be successful, it has to be converted into strategic advantage. To actually make things happen, a board which believes, or an organization which believes that they are not achieving something as a result in why after investing in sustainability, they need to question themselves that how does our sustainability strategy aligns with our overall business goals. So they need to take a step and resolve this. What emerging ESG risks and opportunities are on the horizon, how to keep moving with the changing requirements, and how we are measuring impact beyond basic compliance. And if we answer all, as a board, if they are able to answer all these questions, they can transform sustainability from nice to have to a core business strategy, and that's where the results starts coming in. So the challenges for, especially for the emerging market where ESG is not getting results even after implementation in the strategy, is because there are some very basic issues. And I was just talking about these with Michelle before the start, that most of the board members don't realize and they don't understand this subject to the core. So they cannot make a decision whether we need it as part of the strategy or we don't. And that's why they just deny, even if management suggests them that we need to move to this direction based on the upcoming requirements. So not every director is trained in the ESG literacy. That is where most of the work is required in order to improve results. Data for disclosure is incomplete. As an organization, as managers, they don't know what to do. So, and short-term survival pressures to make money is more important as compared to long-term resilience planning. Sustainable business is not focused, rather than short-term earning is more focused. So the first step is to educate board in order to achieve results and to be successful. And this is extremely, extremely critical, because we have been able to evaluate this even within our discussion whenever we meet organizations, and they have this simple issue: they don't know what to do. So from insight to actions, that is where we have to move. We have for directors onboarding. Maybe this can actually change the results for future. Integrate ESG into strategy and audit committees, not just CSR, not as a subject, not as something goody-goody we are doing. Actually make it part of the strategy to get results. Use scenario planning for climate and social shocks annually, maybe 6 monthly if they have time, tie executive incentives to ESG KPIs, and actively engage with stakeholders and communities beyond investors. So in the end, what will happen is,
minutes, please.
These actions will actually ensure ESG is not just an afterthought, but an operating principle. And this has been supported by a recent published study by PCG, where organizations are actually showing results. Private sector organizations are implementing more strategies or investing more funds in decarbonization processes. And the results here show that almost like over a period of 4 years, there's a 17% increase in investment. And mind you, mostly major companies which are 500 million plus turnover are actually more forced to implement these strategies or laws. So as a suggestion, as I mentioned, there are organizations where it's a top-bottom or top-down approach, and then there are organizations where it's a bottom-up approach. So the best part is to combine them in order to achieve the governance helix model. They should work together and enable continuous learning and strategic innovation throughout the dynamic interaction to achieve results. So what we learned from today is that boards act as catalysts for ESG transformation and to be successful. So driving ESG beyond compliance to long-term resilience is important, where boardroom make a decision to treat ESG as part of the corporate DNA. They move from beyond compliance to create opportunities and partner with management and measurable impacts. And sustainability becomes part of protecting reputation globally and within the ambit they are working in. And most important is, I would really like to know from people or audience that if they think their board has same kind of issues where they don't know what to do and how to move forward, and that is where we come in to support organization and share them or guide them how to move forward to achieve good results. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Adnan, for this interesting presentation. And now we move to the third speaker, Miss Bisan, the Boar Angel. And Miss Bisan, she's the founder of Rivora, and also she's a TSI astronaut candidate from Germany. So the floor is yours, Miss Bisan.
Thank you, Dr. Wissam, and thank you for being here. Actually, also with the first presentation, this is very relevant to our work with Rivora with hydroponics. Just a brief about me. My name is Bisan, and I'm the founder of Rivora. We're bridging space and earth in terms of sustainability and food, and I will tap in within that. But just on a personal note, originally I am half Palestinian, half Moroccan, Jordanian, and German. I lived in 4 continents, and I see the earth as one, not from a philosophical perspective, but also from a scientific perspective as an ecosystem. And this is relevant for my selection as an astronaut candidate. And it's also relevant for as well what the work which we do at Rivora and from the space. Although space is still in general perceived as an escape or traveling for certain economic stage of people, but still we see when we can balance the resources for interplanetary traveling and interplanetary living, this is how we can bring this R&D, whether we are in space or not. But from this environment of microgravity environment, we can do bring this research back to Earth. And this is what all about Rivora. Yeah, I can go with the slides from here. So in the first presentation, I'm very thankful that environment, agriculture, and hydroponics. And as mentioned, there was for example, the differences between NFT or deep culture. But with the whole sector of hydroponics, even if we, for example, save 90% of water, still there is a lot of high costs on the energy sector, whether it is in hot areas for cooling or for cold areas in energy costs for the making the plants warm. And also the crop loss rate, the profitability. So the controlled environment agriculture or hydroponics, it's either on a very simple stage where there is a valley of death, what is so-called, where the R&D and the pilots do not go to scale up. And for a scale up, it goes to a luxury, where in terms of profitability, the plants need to be on a very high price, or it does not meet the nutrients. We're growing only salads, or for example, salads and tomatoes. But when we talk about food security, we need more nutrients and it needs more research for that. And in order to tap these challenges, although the sector, it has been more than 15 years, and the space farming, which I will go for, it also have been for around 10 years. The bridges between these two sectors have never been done, and this is what we're doing at Rivora. So the two words are the space systems, where all the resources need to have recovery, because in the space we have a closed loop system. If we are making research and development and developing, for example, a hydroponic system for astronauts, the whole resources need to be, for example, recycled. And the materials as well need to be recycled. And for Earth systems as well, as I mentioned, so in terms of water recovery or in terms of open loop architecture, these two sciences, these two innovations were not merged together, and this is what we're merging. We're bringing first space R&D, space grade, and we're bringing this on Earth applications. And what I mean with Earth applications, before going to this slide, also on multiple sectors, whether it's on humanitarian catastrophes where there is no possibility to be grown, or to tackle hunger, or for example, as I mentioned in the first presentation, for example, in Egypt, or for example, in Jordan, where there is deserts and there is water scarcity, or in remote islands where there is also not ability to have agriculture and, for example, high prices. But what all these places have in common in order to enable this at these times is also having sun abundance. I tried also the systems in Germany. There is a different strategy to go in there, but having abundance of sun and working solar energies, which also the pilots were doing in Jordan, have different also ECG and KPIs in terms of sustainability. And and we have also the whether it is a high-tech or a low-tech. For high-tech mega projects, we have also the integration of AI, and not just as a buzzword, but because until now, although the 12 years sector has not, we don't have the data altogether for the plans and how to integrate with them. AI just emerged, and it's a huge potential to work with hydroponics, both from the space research and for the Earth deployment. And also, as I mentioned, the circular resource integration, this closed loop water, which is only integrated in the space, it would have an adaptive thermal regulation and heat recovery, which will tackle the huge challenges. For example, what we have in GCC, we have mega projects for vertical farming, but they're not profitable because sustainability and profitability should and must go hand in hand. And if it's not profitable, again, because of the energy costs, this is what we can also achieve on the heat recovery. And as I mentioned, also for a humanitarian deployment. So these are the 4 pillars of Revora ecosystem. So we have the space-ready hydroponic core and the AI control intelligence and the circular resource integration and the Earth deployment layer. So this information would go on this loop. The loop is space, Earth, space. And where we can use that, again, we can use that for space analogs, because in the pilots where we make our systems, we can also bring together multiple scientific stakeholders, including astronauts or analog astronauts who are training to go to space, or food scientists, plant scientists, crop scientists, all together, bringing all this space, Earth space innovation model. And yes, next week, actually in a couple of days, we have one of the systems deployed in Wadi Rum. It is for space aspect, but also for food security to grow in the desert. Same as I mentioned for the GCC area. And in Europe with the European Space Agency, and we have the dual track with multiple UN organizations still in discussion how we can deploy that on a humanitarian areas. So just recently, as I mentioned, I am selected as an astronaut candidate. On a daily basis, I do make research on astrobiology and space farming. And I asked the company if we can combine this research and bring it to Revora and have this research as a basis, because we are a group of scientists and it's a huge niche that we are all together, an opportunity that we can work together and bring it to Revora to multiple stakeholders. So we finalized the collaboration with a space commercial company, and the next level is to have the collaboration, which already initiated with humanitarian organization, with local deployments, and sustainability is a cross-cutting sector on each collaboration and on each sector that we have. And of course, food security. In terms of profitability, again, we see sustainability and profit should go hand in hand. So for example, for the whole market opportunity for both space farming and controlled environment agriculture, we have a huge total addressable market, and we are targeting our systems, again, for space analog, humanitarian mega projects, and AI and data services to be utilized and with multiple as well, food security or universities or food security organizations or universities or research centers. Yes, and with this, I end my presentation. I'm also wanted to share that is really great. I don't know if Dr. Wissam, she's not here yet, but I would like also to hear more about the experience in Egypt. That's very, very relevant. And yes, as mentioned with Mr. Adnan, for the ECG, this is a whole sector which, while we're growing, we need a team for that. On each installment, how we can have the KPIs from, because this is also local employment. This is also like the systems can be owned. They can. This is to tackle also ownership of land or so on. It is a profitable as well business model that tackles the social aspect as well, not only the environmental and the economic aspect. And yes, that's something we can also discuss later to have more insights in that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Bisan, for this interesting sharings. So we conclude the presentations for the three guest speakers. And so the topics were discussed, from saving water and boosting the yields to embedding ESG in corporate DNA, and ending by the bridging space and earth adaptive food systems. So now I'm inviting Ms. Michelle and Ms. Constance to moderate the Q&A session.
Thank you, Dr. Wissam. And I'm definitely going to give a shout out here to Constance, who couldn't be with us in the beginning of the meeting, but without her today, we would not be able to promote and organize all of the Q&A and the moderation that's happening on LinkedIn. So thank you very much, Constance. And as many of you may have seen, we also have Tay Zar, who has been helping with the moderation on LinkedIn as well. So thank you so much for the speakers today. Such an enlightening and thorough presentations that have been done. I always like to discuss the commonalities between each of them, because I know it seems like they're just so far and from each other on topics, but truly, you know, each of the speakers today illustrated the adaptation as a form of innovation, showing how responding to environmental challenges can lead to new technologies, business models, and governance structures. Also, a shared undercurrent is the integration of science, systems, and leadership, and each of those connects data-driven precision, both in agriculture, ESG, metrics, or AI, to human-centered responsibility. So just always kind of keeping that in mind, there's always the commonalities that are bringing all of those presentations together. A huge shout out to our audience. Thank you so much for sharing your locations. I'll say that we've had so many people coming in from Pakistan. We've had Cairo, Egypt, Jakarta, Indonesia, Bethlehem, Palestine, Maldives, Myanmar, USA. That's Tay Zar is from there. Switzerland, Saudi Arabia, Colombia, Berlin, Germany, Dallas, Texas, Abu Dhabi, UAE, Lahore, Pakistan, Alexandria, Egypt, Nigeria, Ghana, quite a few from Egypt, Kenya, Germany, Saudi Arabia, France. That's where Constance is joining us from as well. South Africa, again, Indonesia, Kigali, Rwanda, so, and many, many more. So thank you so much for sharing your location, because I know our speakers are always coming from such diverse locations as well. And I want to say thank you for the questions that have been coming in. So we will get started with those. I know that it looks like we are missing Dr. Wissam. So hopefully she will be joining us back again. I know there were some connectivity issues, but we'll jump back into those questions. And then if we don't get to those questions, because she isn't here, we will also post the questions, and any others that we do not get to, we will post them on Dr. Wassam's and Global Ambassadors of Sustainability posts related to this particular presentation. So keep your eye out if by chance we don't get to the questions. So we'll go ahead and start next with Mr. Adnan's questions. And I just want to say that thank you so much. I love talking business sustainability as a whole. So, and you've really shown us that sustainability leadership starts at the top, and that real impact comes with governance, becomes a living system of accountability and opportunity. So, and embedding ESG into governance transforms sustainability into, and I think this is what I always want to emphasize, a competitive advantage, not a cost. I hope that everyone can hear that, because I know that that's with us at the Green Chamber, that's what we're trying, that is like our number one message that we try to get out. So thank you so very much for sharing that. We'll jump right into questions. Our first question is from Faziha Mulugeta, and they ask, is there an international company that can certify an organization so that trained organizations can certify others in its own country?
Yes, this question is for me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of organizations globally which are doing this. It depends on the local requirement and the company's requirement. I can give you an example of GRI. What they do is they actually train a local organization, and then that organization has to sell their certification to, in defined areas. I mean, even we can do that if required. And she can connect with me later on for details. Yeah.
Thank you so very much. And there's a lot of questions here, so we'll try to get to all of them, but we'll go over to Ms. Bassan. And I just want to say, oh my goodness, wow. You are an astronaut candidate. Congratulations on that. That is something I know that probably most of us since we were a child wish to be that. And your vision really does connect worlds, literally. You demonstrate that technologies built for space can become the key to feeding our planet sustainably. So we will jump right in. The first question is from Strong Truth. And Strong asks, are there any ethical or data privacy concerns when using AI to monitor and control hydroponic farms?
Thank you, Michelle, so much. And for this question, because it's still establishing, there is not one platform, and this is what we're aiming for, but we need to put and spotlight on the ethical part, and of course with open data and data democracy for this from this perspective. But there is not yet platform or data that we have for hydroponics. Is still establishing, and this is also part of our mission, that we have it and combine this. So there is basic monitoring, and we have the platform. Of course, we can control the pH level with the nutrients, and we can develop on this much more. But the key players within that are very few around the world. And I think from my perspective, an ethical perspective, is democracy of these data. So it can be globally transparent and used, that we can grow more plants, we can grow more nutrients and see how the reaction of the plants, and not be just restricted to some companies to have their R&D.
Thank you so much. Really good information. And thank you again for the question. And we'll go back to you, Adnan. Ansi Haas asks, has any measurable maturity been achieved, or have the 2030 SDG goals been successfully met? And where does Pakistan currently achieve those goals?
Oh, well, thank you for the question. Although I'm representing Pakistan right now, but there are a few things which are government planned and where you cannot comment, But for him, I would update him that very recently Pakistan is one of the few countries which has submitted NDC data, which is 3.0, and considering our location and being the global south, one of the global south countries, we are probably one of few which have done this. So that is an achievement for Pakistan. And also, very recently, if I compare Pakistan with the countries around us as neighbors, we are one of the few who have actually developed and published carbon credit framework, which is going to be implemented by next year, early next year. And and also Article 6 has been implemented with the intervention of UNEP in Pakistan, and under a Spark 6 program. So there are a lot of activities happening in Pakistan, and as a country, as a nation, and as government. This segment or this subject has been taken up very seriously, because we have been affected very badly. Tell you, for the last 3 years, I mean, even this year, flood has really literally destroyed almost 30-40% of agricultural land. And they are pushing, but let's see. Let's hope that government stays in, because all these things are continuation if government stays in and policies stay intact. So I hope this answers your question.
Wow, 30 to 40% of agricultural land being destroyed just this year?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I know that Dr. Wassam had connected us with an organization in Pakistan. I was so impressed with the fact that they had, I think, over 200 employees, and it was all about environmental policies, really trying to push and define those policies. So I know that it's so needed, but as we know, around the world, in the United States, especially in Europe and Australia and other places that we need, we're the cause of that. And it's just so heartbreaking to hear that type of statistic is happening. And we know that, but at the same time, like hearing it just right here live is always just.
And if you allow me to add, I mean, hats off to Bisan, because what she's doing is actually very important. Whenever floods come in, the next output or the next cycle of agriculture, sometimes it takes away the topsoil. Bisan can relate to what I'm saying. Sometimes floods bring in topsoil, which is more fertilized, good for agriculture, but sometimes they take away whatever is available. Now the result is we as a farmer actually lose the whole cycle, agriculture cycle, and we are not able to get results in due required time. And the other important element is the ingredient or the fortified element. Let's say, for example, in wheat, it's not as good as it was before the floods. So that is one important element, or I would say impacts of climate that results in probably the same amount of output in agriculture, but the quality of that seed, or let's say the output, is not that good. So what happens is, as a result, there's a wastage of time, there's a wastage of resources, and there's a wastage of funds, and loss of food. And food security that's why very, very, very critical element to manage. And hats off to Bisam. She has come up with this idea and taking it from ground to space. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I think I love that's what I love about this program, is we are bringing such diverse backgrounds and ideas. This is certainly a new idea that Bisan is bringing to the table. And so really, really appreciate that. And I want to make a note that everyone may see the QR code up on the screen that Dr. Wassam has put up there. And please use this QR code to, number one, receive your certificate of participation in this program. Number two, also let us know if you are or know of speakers who would like to participate in this program as well, and just any feedback of participation with us. So thank you for recognizing this QR code that's up here. And our next question will go to Vasan. Again, Strong Truths asks, how does AI contribute to resource optimization, such as water and nutrient usage in hydroponics?
Yes, so AI actually solves a lot of the challenges that have been in the sector. So first we can, for the water, is like for the prediction of the irrigation. One of the major challenges is the leak and loss, and it can be detected in seconds. As well, in nutrients, we can use like dosing for nutrients, and this helps as well for the optimization of how nutrients are the crops, or having the maximum or the best is in the end not artificial. So we give the plants the best environment, like in the best spring day that compared that is when it needs spring, or the best weather it needs for growing. And yes, the circulation of it, like how much these nutrients are circular, and depends on each plant because it has different needs in terms of light. Most plants, like in the field, would not need light in the night, but there is also some sort of detectors that we see if there's some, for example, plants would need certain detection within the light itself, or we can research the light spectrums for each plant and optimize that. So yes, AI bring us on a different level. And for Mr. Adnan, what yes, so you mentioned, definitely this brings it because of the soil degradation. What we have now, it is very important to have these hybrid solutions. But because of AI, we can have these hybrid solutions while maintaining what we can have in the field and not having something artificial. We don't need, most of the cases, not any genetic editing or so on. Maybe in the space, sometimes we need that to create new, but for that we can imitate exactly the field while, yes, keeping all the natural, and this is possible with this precision only through AI.
Wow, and thank you for bringing up several of those variables. It really keeps it in mind as how we are utilizing that AI. And I know there's challenges with AI, but I love constantly seeing how we're utilizing it to improve the sustainability path that we're all on. And Mr. Adnan, we'll go back to you. We have a question from Indira Bunik. Indira is from Switzerland, and she asks, what's one partnership model or collaboration framework that has consistently delivered results across different contexts?
Is she talking about the frameworks as standards? I'm not sure. Or is it related to something else? I mean, like, there are so many frameworks. Is there any, is she talking about that? My second slide?
I don't know, because she might have left. So,
okay.
I'll let you take charge of the question.
Okay. I mean, let me answer it in this way, that generically what happens is, it's not necessary that every framework works in every country. There are certain things which are more required for European countries, and then there are certain which are general frameworks. But ESG framework is something which is just a basic one. It's the first assessment tool where you can start off your journey into frameworks. So based on this, you keep on adding knowledge and information or standards, and then these standards based on, like in US, is a very specific CSRD focused on California, so they focus on that based on their requirement or regional requirement. But for Europe or for England, specifically UK, they have certain things which are focused on their local requirement. For CBAM, it's more focused on products which are being imported within the European boundaries. So it depends what exactly she's asking for, but it is totally dependent on the project developer based on the boundaries in which that project is to be implemented. So there are options available. Not everything works for everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a very broad question, and I know that she's works in human resources, so I think that will definitely help answer that.
I've requested Constance to share my email, and maybe if people have questions, they can ask me. No issue.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we'll go.
The email I shared your email, and so they're all aware, and I hope they connect with you, and I'm sure they will. So.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Constance. And we'll go to one question for Ms. Bassan. I love this question. It's asking, what challenges exist in transferring space-grade technologies to low-resource environments on Earth?
So the challenges in transfer would be on how the user, because depends where we deployed it. If it's on a mega projects or in a humanitarian sector or in developing sector. So again, to the ECGs, if we have local communities, local employment, and we want to do capacity building, we cannot do a lot of high tech. It needs to be low tech, that it can be, as also mentioned in the first presentation, that is not very complicated to work with, and that we can go forward with the capacity building. If we want to make full automation and have robotics, it's also high technicality and have very high capex as well. It needs a very high investment. So it depends where we're installing. So now we're focused on desert areas, starting in remote islands, and having both low-tech and high-tech. So, for example, keeping the space-grade materials for the heat, and keeping the rest for example, as mentioned in the first presentation, the NFT system as simple as possible, and to do that. So it needs tailoring, and this tailoring, yes, just to put it in short, the level of technology and the costs of automation, that would be most challenging for now. And I'm sure as we expand, there will be much more challenges.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to pass over the question to Constance to ask. We have a final question for all the speakers. And so just kind of, this will be for both of you here. And Constance, if you'd like to ask the question.
Absolutely. I actually love this question from Indira, which is, what key factors drive the success of sustainability initiative across sectors like education, technology, business, and policy, and how can others replicate this strategy? I can re-give you the question.
Should I share my thought on it?
Of course, if you're ready.
Oh, okay. So you see, for any process or any business, I'm going to talk about this from business point of view. The only motivation for any organization is to earn, to make money out of activities. So what I believe is these carbon credits and ITMOs and these motivational factors have been introduced to push individuals to think about making money from doing good in climate change, sector, and make money out of it. And that is the one motivational factor which actually pushes human to do good things, And I guess we need to add more opportunities for individuals and organizations to understand that how they can convert their investment into returns. Only then these things work, I tell you. And this is something which will push people to invest more in climate-related interventions.
That's a beautiful answer. What about you, Dr. Engel?
Hello. Yes. So just from my experience with Revora, because we do have systems, for example, to have for education for in schools or in cafes or in hotels. So for example, if you go to a cafe, we have a lot of SDGs. Like we can write 30 pages report how much they can do SDGs. And the truth is they're not interested, not because they don't care, but because in the end, as you said, they are interested what added value other than, for example, even in Germany, they would have some incentives on the taxes and some other incentives. We couldn't sell only on sustainability. That was not a selling point. And it was not shocking, but we worked on a lot of data and ECGs that they can even help from a monetary perspective. But the only way we could sell is, for example, saving compared to, for example, in an office, compared to an office plant, if they have herbs, if the price is comparable. And just from this experience on a very micro level shows that like the economic aspect, because it is there of the sustainability, need to have more focus, and just the balance of the social and environment and the economic aspect. And then comes the sustainability. This is maybe in different sectors would be different, but just to when innovating, just from an innovative, when innovating, not only asking from the social and environment, but how it can be economic for the company and for the beneficiaries. And with, of course, human-centered focus. And this helps a lot in shaping, especially in new solutions, shaping innovations or integrations that can be also profitable. Yes.
Beautiful answer. Yeah, I will give it back to Michelle and Dr. Wissam for closing.
Yes, thank you so very much. I just want to say this has been such an enlightening series today, and I want to thank Dr. Wissam, Adnan, and Bessan for an incredibly rich and thought-provoking session. I'm so sad we lost Dr. Wissam, but that is part of working on a global international talk that unfortunately happens more often than we wish. But each of our speakers really reminded us that sustainability is not a single discipline. It's really a living system that connects the science, the strategy, as well as imagination. So we have from Dr. Wissam's practical solutions for climate resilient agriculture to Adnan's call for governance that makes sustainability part of the corporate DNA. And finally to Bessan's bold vision thinking, space innovation to Earth's food systems. So together, you've all shown us that future of sustainability lies in integration, in collaboration, and of course, courage to think beyond those boundaries. So, and again, to our audience, thank you so much for joining us and being part of this global dialogue and our global sustainability family. Let's carry forward these ideas. This is not, we always talk about this at the end and sometimes at the beginning. Yes, this is informational. We all learn so much, but we want you to take this information and turn it into action. Move this forward. Use it in your businesses, use it at the university level, use it in the communities and governance, use it with your NGOs. Please get it out there. And also, when you're reaching out and you use that QR code that Dr. Wissam had put up, then please also let us know how you've implemented any new practices based upon today's program or past programs or future programs. We always want to know and to be able to share those success stories. So, because every choice that we make moves us closer, moves each one of us closer to a more resilient, sustainable world. So I personally want to thank you. I want to thank again our collective team with Constance, with the Global Green Chamber, Global Climate Pledge, U.S. Green Chamber, and of course, I want to give the big shout out to Dr. Wissam for bringing us all together, and many, many thanks to our speakers. You've done such a brilliant job. So I'll pass it back to you, Dr. Wissam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle. And again, I'd like to thank all the speakers for these interesting sharings, new ideas. And also I'm happy to see kind of new connections. And I think from the comments also there is a great potential for collaboration for those who are interested. And we'll see you back in 2 weeks with more speakers and more ideas. So stay tuned for the next slot. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Have a good time, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you. Take care.
No.
Bye bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.